Okay, thank you so much. I had said that today we were going to start by checking on how do we perform input and how do we perform output when working with Python language. Remember, basically, the basic functions of a computer is just to receive data, manipulate that data, and give out the output. So basically, that is what we normally say is the basic functions of a computer. Receiving data, processing the data and changing it to information, and also the storage part of it, so that we also have devices that are used for storage. So today we will see how do we work with input and output. In introduction, I would just say that the main objective of a programming language is to make it interactive with the user and the audience. If you notice precisely most of the software we use in real life, they need input from a user, whether it is a search engine or a daily used app or even mail. We first of all, most of the time we are told maybe to input your email address, input your password, input your name, input your age. So basically it interacts with you. And every time you're working with a software, it is always good that it interacts with you. The user does something and the kindly mutes.
Hey, have you called your doctor already?
Yeah, I called her, but she's away on it.
Okay, sorry, I was trying to mute somebody. As you join, kindly mute, kindly mute. Yeah, so whether it is a search engine or a daily used app or even mail, we have said that most of the time you will be required to input some things. The program that we have been working with, we haven't been inputting anything. I've just been putting variables and printing them, putting them directly. Like, I remember last week I did so much of maybe A equals 5 or name. Let me use the text part of it. Or maybe name equals, and then I say Austin. So this, it's like I'm already defining it. But today we want to check what if I really interact with the language so that I input at the time of running it. In Python, we have many built-in functions that help obtain data from the user and then display the data after processing some logic with it. So you get to display it. Python input output, I tried to maybe draw this kind of a flow chart to maybe just basically explain what happens. Like if you are the user, you may use an input device like a mouse, like a keyboard to help you feed something or input something. Once you input that thing, whatever you input as a data, it gets to be processed so that it gets the meaning, and then it is printed out and somebody sees it again through any output device. Can be a monitor, can be a printer, can be a projector, can be any form of output device. But basically it moves in that order. You are the user using with the help of an input device, you input, it is processed, and then you print. So what you need to mark here is that in Python, we use input function. Last week, I said that whenever we see these two brackets after a word, then it is like we are talking about a method or a function, and I'll explain the difference later when we'll be talking about object-oriented programming. So this input function helps us to input or to feed the information. Then we have the print that now helps us to display. And they are just those that we are going to talk about and maybe see how they work and the difference in how they work. We widely use print statements to display some data on the screen. We can output the particular data on some devices like on screen or even in some file. So it doesn't have to be the screen. You can pull it and put it in some file so that maybe you save it and even get it out and take it to a different machine or something. While writing real-world programs, we have to write statements that explicitly output numbers and strings. And because we have talked about data types, I now believe that every time I mention on numbers and string, we basically know what we mean. Performing simple input and output, creating output with print and input with inputs. The function print can be used to get better control of the output. So you not only at the end of the cell, not only once per cell, not only one argument, but different and several, as we are going to see. The function input enables the programmer to handle input. Like I just gave a little example here, but right now I want to get out of this so that I go to my IDE. I am working with Jupyter Notebook, and then so I explain as I show, I just let you see practically. So inputs and outputs, I have mentioned about prints, and I've also mentioned about input. When a cell of a Jupyter Notebook is executed, the return value or the result or the output of the statement, of the last statement, is always printed below the cell. And we have always seen last week or even the first week, this is what we call the shell or the cell. When I click run, then the result is normally printed below it. However, if the last statement does not have a return value, there will be no output. For instance, if I just make this one's comment, when I make something comment, it means that the interpreter will see it just as a documentation. And so it will not, the interpreter will not work on it as a code. It will be just seen as a documentation, maybe for some explanation, and it will not be interpreted, it will not be processed. So now if I click run, I left hello. Yeah. Oh, there is this one here. So if I run this code, I'll not get any result. Why? Because the statement does not have a return value. There is no input. The moment I allow this, if I run it, I get the output. So let's see how this works. Considering the different data types that we know, I believe we are able to now see that my print here, the string is quoted. So I have my print, but then because I want to print a string, I quote it. If I want to print a number, I don't quote it. I just let it remain as a number. I can assign a variable name to Joy. Then now when I want to print, I don't print Joy. I print the variable. I do not quote the variable. So while you're working with the print, you only quote the string that you want to appear on the screen the way it is. Now, for instance, I'll manipulate this a bit. I will manipulate this a bit. So if I want to print hello Joy, hello Joy. So I want to print hello. So hello is not described in a variable. So I just print it like that. Then if I now put a comma, now I will put name without quoting the name. So if I run it, it will say hello Joy, hello Joy. I said hello, then comma, then the variable I didn't quote. If I quote the variable, if I quote the variable, see what happens. It says hello name, hello name. That is because now it assumes that this is what I want to print. I want to print the word name. Python allows us to concat the string. So I can say hello, then instead of putting a comma, I say plus name. Let me see what happens. It still says hello Joy. So it is able to concat between hello and name. Let's try if we are working with a number. I can say print, and then I have my hello, and then comma, my 42. So let me run. It says hello 42. Assume I have two variables. I have variable A, okay, let me call it number. I have number 1, which is 20. I have number 2, which is I need to assign, which is 20. Then I have number 2. Remember the way I give my variables, I am not putting a space. I am not saying number 1. And I believe we know the reason. Because space is a special character, and we agreed that when you're naming your variables, you can't have a special character apart from underscore. So that's where I'm pulling it all together. Then I want to have sum, and I want to say that sum is now assigned to number 1 plus number 2. So in my print, I want to print a statement that says sum is, then I'll get my result at 60. So the best way to do it, there are several ways to do it. So I can say print these words, sum is. I want them to appear on the screen like that. So I quote them. I say sum is, and then I put a comma and say, let me see, say sum. Now sum is this. Oh, sorry. Let me use my sum. We had agreed that if we use sum, we may get an issue because sum is an inbuilt a keyword. So let me run it. and I have an error. Oh, number 2 is not defined. How did I define my, oh, it is capital. So I just change that and run it. Another one says my sum is not defined. My sum is capital S. Okay, let's run it. So now it works. It says sum is 60. Sum is 60. If you're able to see, let me just comment these other prints so that we have one print that we are working with and it's visible for us. So I'll comment out the other prints. So if I run it now, I just get sum is 60. So let's try and concat. Remember, we concated here and it worked. Run. Hello, Joy. It worked. So let's see what happens if I, instead of comma, I say sum is plus my sum. What do you think will be the result? Hello? I'll be checking and calling people's names. So you better talk before I call your name. Ramadan, your speaker is on.
Oh yeah, I think it will be sum is 60, but the 60 will go back kidogo.
Back kidogo, how?
Like
it will be 50.
No, it will be sum is 60. Is will be together with the 60, something like that. I'm not sure.
I get you. So you are thinking result will be something like sum is 60.
Yeah.
Something like this. Okay,
yeah.
Another person. And maybe I'll allow people to write on my screen. If you don't want to talk, you can just write on my screen. This is the way you can write your answer on my screen without talking. So on your Zoom, on that bar where the Zoom menu is listed, you have participants, chats, mute, start video. You're seeing that part. Yeah, I can see Fatma has done it. For the rest, you go to, you look at it, you will see a place called annotate. Annotate. When you click on annotate, you will get a big bar where you can pick a pen or a text and just type. Annotate, then you just type. So like I've seen Fatma. Fatma, I believe you're agreeing with who was this? Ramadan. Yeah.
Yes, but I feel like there'll be space in the middle of is and 60.
Also for you, the results will be the same with this one. Right? For you, you believe it will be sum is 60, right?
Yes.
A different one, anybody with a different one? So this one is for Ramadan. This one is for Fatma. Any other person? So let's run it and see. Let's run it and see. Boom, there is an error. So the result is there is an error. The reason why there is an error is that you can only concatenate string. You cannot concatenate string and a number. Remember when I discussed this plus last week, when I discussed this plus last week, I said what it is doing is it is operator overloading. When we are adding strings, we are giving a plus sign more than it can do. So basically, the plus sign will have to now even start adding strings. And we cannot add Lucy, that's my name, plus a value 60. This will never give us anything. I'm thinking of the way the mathematics teachers taught us. Was it algebra? So that they were saying you can't add A plus B. So it will just be A plus B. You cannot. So we can't add Lucy plus 60. We can't add this string plus a value. It will not. So for us to do that, then we need to cast. You remember I mentioned about casting a data type. You remember I talked about casting a data type. So the way we cast a data type is that we make the result of sum to be a string. When we make the result of sum to be a string, then we can run it. Sorry, where is the problem? I don't know why this is giving me an error. I don't even need it. Hello plus name. Where is that? Oh, I'm trying to do away with them so that I only have one. And then I run it. Unexpected end of file. This should be there. Then when you run it, you get sum is 60. Sum is 60. Why? This 60 is now made a string, and therefore it can be added plus this string. Basically, what we are doing is just concatenating. We are not doing any calculation. We are concatenating. Is that okay now? Are we good?
Yes.
Thank you. So basically, that's how we work with print. Remember, if you're printing, you can't add a string to a number. You can have number added to a number. You can have a string added to a string, but you cannot mix the two because it can never be. So therefore, that's why we do it like that. So there are several ways of doing this. Remember, we said you can just put a comma if you don't want to concat and say sum equals, then maybe a space, and then you say my sum. And then if you run it, it will work. I'm not concatenating. I'm not using the plus. So that's why it works here. Good. So let's move on. The desired output is passed to print. I think we have explained that. And basically, for now, let's know that about print. As we continue, we will see several ways of printing, maybe a string. String comes with a lot of formatting. So we'll be able to see several ways of maybe formatting a string when we want to print it out. But basically, you need to have the ways that we have explained in your mind. For a number, you don't quote. For a string, you quote. Variable, you do not quote. If you are printing out a string and a value that is a number, then you cast the type. You change the type to be a string so that it is printed. So let's see on input. I don't need to read that. Input function can be used to read input from the user. A typical call of the function is input. So it's like I'm creating a variable called I. Remember, this I can be anything depending on whatever you want to name it. You can basically even name it number 1 if you want. Anything, it can be name, it can be anything. So you say I is equals to input, please insert a number. Let me run this and see what happens. If I run it, it says, please insert a number. After it says, please insert a number, it gives me an input box where I need to insert that number. Then, because I said print, it prints it for me. If I didn't say print, it wouldn't. So now I can even say print the number you entered. Is that the way we write entered? Entered is comma I. So let me run it. Please enter a number. I can enter 20. The other time I entered 40. So then I press enter. It says the number you entered is 20. So the way input function works, this value here is a string. So that string value comes on the screen first, just the way you wrote it. So it is what will tell you what you want. It is I'm thinking of how we used to call it in Microsoft Access or Visual Basic. So it comes on the screen and then it gives you that input box where you enter the value and then the value is captured in the memory and then now the variable that you received, that value you entered, can be printed out. Let me see if I concat what happens here. I'm saying the number you entered is plus I. Please insert a number. Have in mind that we cannot concat string and number. That is what I want you to have in mind. We cannot concat string and a number. So I'll run it. Please insert a number. I'll insert 10. And then I run it. The number you entered is 10. Why is it that it is giving me the value 10 when actually 10 is a number and the number you entered is a string? Who can think of a reason why it is doing that? Hello? We are going to talk. I'll always get your names. Who can think of why it is doing that? Anybody whose mic is on to talk? Or you can raise your hand. Okay. There is something we need to know about input function. Input function receives any variable as a string. So 10 can be a string, we agreed? Like your phone number. It is all numbers, but it is just a string. Like your home address. It is all numbers, but it is just a string. So a string is just a sequence of characters, and a character can be anything. Character can be a question mark, a character can be an underscore, a character can be number 4, character can be your name, a character can be anything. A sequence of characters is a string. Input function receives all values as a string. That is why I am able to concat the 10.
Kama ya arrows fulani hapa, kuna arrow inaenda hivi na kuna arrow inakuja hivi. Ni venye tu sijaonyesha.
Kindly mute. Okay, so that's why I am able to now concat the two. Let's see what happens as we move on. I've just explained this statement. The function inputs first outputs the given argument. Please insert a number. It depends with whatever argument you will want to give it. After that, the function waits for an input from the user. So it gives you an input box. The user enters a value and finishes the input with the return key. So you press enter on your keyboard. The entered value is assigned to the variable, in this case, I. So in your case, it will be a different one. So let's see this other exercise. Write a program that uses input to retrieve values for first name, last name, and email address. Output the entered values afterwards. So what I'll do is just, I assign a variable fname to receive fname, then lname, then email, then I print them. So if I click this, it will tell me, please enter your first name, Lucy, enter your last name, Wagoro, enter your email address, lucywagoro@gmail.com, and then it will print all of it down just the way I have listed them. Remember, because those ones are just names, you can cut and you will be good to go. Number 2, maybe we try this. Write a program that uses input function to accept 2 numbers from a user and output the sum and the product of both. So before we go to the product, can you try? I'll give you a few minutes. You try. Write a program that uses input function to accept 2 numbers from a user and output the sum. So reach where we have said the sum. We can do that, right? You have your laptop, you have your laptop. We can try that. You can also write on your paper if you don't have your laptop with you, but at least do something, because I'm giving like 2 minutes. So it is 56. At exactly 58, I'll be asking those who have gotten it right and where you have your issues. If you have any issue, you will raise it and then we will discuss it. You can also type it. If you can use annotate and type it on my screen, I'll be okay. Though we will not be able to run it, but we will dry run it. I'll look at it and tell you where the problem is. Are we good? Are we done? Hello, am I alone? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, I'm seeing somebody's. Whose is this? Okay, somebody has also, okay, somebody has said we are cool. That's Daniel. Whose work
Joseph.
is this?
That's Joseph's one.
Oh, that's Joseph's. So, okay, Joseph is saying first number input, please enter first number. Second number input, please enter second number. We are not seeing where you are calculating the sum.
It's submitted before we finish.
It's okay.
But basically after that, because as you said, the numbers or the input is captured as a string. Therefore, for us to do the sum, we probably might need to cast it into a number variable.
Yeah. We need to cast it, and basically that's where the argument lies. Because it is captured as a string, if we try saying my sum is first number plus second number, we will get a string. We will get a concatenation. So so let's see what happens for this. This is how I casted. Like Joseph says, we need to cast. So I need to first of all change the input function to receive an int. So I say int input, right? Then I also say int input. So that means that whatever the input function will receive now is an integer. So please enter a number, please enter another number, then I add the two, and then now I can sum, I can also make a product. So if I run this, I can add 40 plus 8, and then my product will be 320. I just did A times B here. Then my sum is 48. Still, I can enter this as string. You can enter the both as string. If you try running it, it will not work. So you try put this in to make it integer. I can make both integer and then run it. Where is the issue? This one. I didn't remove the two. It will work. So it depends with where you want to change your values, but the issue is you must always know that an input function receives values as a string. For you to work with numbers, you have to cast, you have to change it to receive a number value. And I've shown you maybe different ways of how you can do it. Let me see. I need something for this. I'm saying this is just an example. Maybe if I give you to do it, some of you are going to keep quiet again. But in this, I just want a big printout where you enter your name, you enter your start city and maybe which city you are moving to, the destination city, and the means of transport. So once you input all of them, then now I will print out the name. Wants to travel from this city to this city by this means of transport. So if I run this code, let me clear Joseph's work kindly. And I believe the host I can, okay, yeah. So now, if I run this, I'm supposed to see what I am doing. Let me see why it is not. Name input, please. It should. Maybe it is my IDE that is having issues. Allow me to copy this, paste it somewhere else, and just show it. Those who don't have IDE already working, you can always Google Colab. Google as a place where we can do Python called Google Colab. So you can just click on it. It will tell you, welcome to Collaboratory. As long as you're signed in with your Google account, it will allow you to get this, where you can work. So file, new notebook. It works like a Jupyter notebook, but it is on the cloud. It will take a few minutes to run because I've just pulled it. So we give it a little time. Yeah, so please enter a name. I'll enter, let me just enter my name. Please enter a start city. I say Nakuru. Please enter a destination. I'll say Nairobi. Please enter a means of transport. I'll say private car. And then it say Lucy wants to travel from Nakuru to Nairobi by private car. So that's how I've concatenated them. Lucy is my name that I entered. Wants to travel is just a string, SCT to DCT by means of transport. So that's just a long concatenation of different strings, and it works. And I think that's okay. So let's go back to our notepad. And that was the end of explanations for today for input and print functions. And I believe it has helped. So you can basically think along, how do I use my input function? How do I use my print functions? And basically, you just need to,
because getting out of my bed is an inconvenience for me. So my future husband.
kindly mute. Just make sure you're muted, because we are doing recording and it is not nice when people are listening to our recordings and they keep hearing me requesting you to mute. So please mute. So basically that should introduce us to input and print functions. The next thing we are going to learn is about the control structures. Last week, we said we are going to learn about input functions, print functions, and also control structures. So what are control structures? Control structures basically shows the program how to, shows how the program will be solved, or how the program, the code will be worked on. So we have three control structures: sequential, selection, and loops. Sequential, selection, and loops. And I'm going to explain each one of them as we see. Sequential is step by step from beginning to end, like the ones that we have worked on. So let me bring the ones that we have worked on. They'll be very easy to use as we explain. Like the ones we have worked on, just this last one. It is a sequential. It is just step by step. Number one, input for me name. Number two, input the start city. Input the destination city. Input the means of transport, then print, and print it like this. So this is sequential. It moves from the beginning to the end without doing anything else. Just the code is just solved by checking step by step, line by line, from beginning to end, and the program ends. And that is what we refer as sequential. If we were to draw a flowchart for sequential, maybe just to show how it works, then we would be saying start, then maybe do some input, then after you do some input, this is a rectangle, do some calculations or some manipulation, then this is a do we call it a rhombus or a parallelogram? Then do some,
It's a parallelogram.
a parallelogram, yeah. Do some output and then end. This is an oval, so this is end. So this actually would be the flowchart for sequential. The calculation here can be so many things. Do this, calculate product, calculate division, calculate this, and then display. So this is display, this is input. So input, in a flowchart, you put it in a parallelogram, then process you put in a rectangle, output you also put in a parallelogram, but start and stop you put in an oval. So basically this is how a flowchart would look if we were to talk about a sequential program. Let's see if it is not sequential. Then we will be talking about selection. Selection means branching, yeah? Or I'm thinking of another word, selection or conditional or branching. What we mean is you will not be moving sequentially from the beginning to the end. You will reach at some point where you have to make a decision. So if we are making a decision, then we make a decision using a rhombus. So assuming we had done some things up there, we reach a position where we now need to make a decision. So a decision is made by checking on a condition. I want to give a very practical example, but meanwhile, I'll say after you check a condition, you can do that process or you can do this other process. After you do all those processes, any of the processes, you will just continue. to something else. So that's how a branching would look like in if we have to draw a flowchart. Coming from somewhere, you reach a point you need to make a decision. So let me give an example of how we join the universities in Kenya. In Kenya, we all do KCSE. We all do KCSE. At Form 4 level, we do KCSE. Once we do KCSE exams, results usually come out. And all the girls who get C+ and above will go to the university direct. Then assuming that all boys must get B- and above, I don't know what happens nowadays, also go to the university. Okay. So the program will come from maybe you enroll for KCSE, you do KCSE, but then the results will come out. When the results come out, the first condition here, we will check whether you are a girl or whether you are a boy. So when you are a girl, so we will have a condition first to check your gender. So if you are a girl, then we again check. You are a girl. So if you are a boy, so this is no, you are not a girl, it is false. Then this is yes, you are a girl. So if you are a boy, we will check if you got a B-. If you are a girl, we will check if you got a C+. Of course, this will also go to yes or no. Or no. This will also go to yes or no. No. If this is yes, the process will be join university. If this is yes, the result always will be join university. The two will be think of going for a TVET or any course or any business or anything else. Basically, we are branching. The program comes in a sequential manner, but when it reaches some point, then it has to make a decision whether you are going to the university direct or maybe you are going through parallel, and it will make other decisions like whether you can take medicine, whether you can take engineering, depending on your cluster. So all these are decisions, and then they break the normal sequential flow of program execution. They break that normal sequential process so that the program will now make a decision whether to go this way or go this other way. So that's what we are calling branching. In Python, we use some keywords when we want to make those decisions. We use some keyword. So the keyword is if. So we use if. And then now when we say if, we put a condition. I'll give a syntax. We use if, we put a condition, and then a full colon. Then the next statement will be indented. So this will be the block of code to be performed when the above condition is true. So this is the block of code if this story is true. If this story is not true, then we put else if we want to perform another code. So this is the block of code, if false. So it is just one condition. If condition, indent, and we agreed you indent 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. Block of code to be performed when true. Else, full colon, block of code to be performed when false. Remember, this if and this else are on the same line. Sometimes you want to check a condition. Like in the case of, we were checking whether you are a boy or a girl. Then we go and check another condition. Then we go and check another condition. For grading system, maybe, let me put a grading system so that I say if you get 0 to 39, we'll give you an E. If you get 40 to 45, we'll give you a D. If you get 46 to 49, we'll give you a C. That C has come so early. So C's don't come that early. 50 to 59 will be a C. Then 60 to 69 will be a B. And then 70 to 100
52.
will be an A. Somebody is talking?
Yeah, 40 to 59. It is, you have said it is 50 to 59.
Yeah, because I'd actually captured. Yeah, thank you for that. So this is what we want to branch on. So our branching will be checking this condition. Maybe I did maths and I got 67. So basically I need to get a B. So my conditions needs to be many. So I'll have several of conditions. So the first thing I'll do is to check if I'm out of E. So I'll be if the first condition is that my grade is greater or equal to 0, right? Is greater or equal to 0 and is less or equal to 39. So that will be my first condition. What will I do if that happens? 1, 2, 3. I will print A. That student, no, that is an E. Yeah, so this student will get an E if you get between 0 and 39. But I didn't get that. So because I didn't get that, another condition needs to be checked. In Python, we say elif. Elif is a short form for else if. Most programming languages says else if. In Python, we say elif. So elif, grade, still the same grade, is greater or equal to 40, and it is less or equal to 49. So that's how I capture it. I put a full colon and then I indent again. So whatever, if this failed, then this elif is just another if condition. A block of code to be performed is, if this is true, is print this student gets a D. Then we again move to another elif, grade is greater or equal to 50 and is less or equal to 59. Full colon, 1, 2, 3, 4, print. Then I'll have my C. Then another elif, grade is greater or equal to 60 and is less or equal to 69. Full colon. Without that full colon, there will be an issue. Then now I'll print a B. So the student who gets 67 will fall there. Then another elif, this will bring an error. Another elif, grade is greater or equal to 70 and less or equal to 100. Then this student will get, this student will now get an A. If all these conditions are not met, then we do what we now call else. So else is the part of that code that only happens when all the conditions have failed. So we say,
Yes.
if, yes?
You have not, here we are on the print B, you have not put the marks, the opening marks and the closing.
Yeah, these ones will actually bring an error because they are string. Thank you so much. That tells me you're very keen.
And
So
then
now,
I would like to ask a question.
yes.
What if you use else if? Will you have a syntax error?
Yes. You cannot use else if because the syntax for Python is elif.
Elif. Okay, thank you.
Yes. So if you say else if, it will give you an error, and the error will be saying invalid syntax or else if is not defined.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then now print maybe grade marks out of range or something, marks out of range. Because we are ranging from 0 to 100. So basically, this is how Python works. This is how Python works. We have if, we have elif, and then we have else. There is also a way we can have a blocked if, so that we check the condition and another condition is within that condition. So that we have if, that we need to check if condition. So if this condition is true, then you check another if condition. So you see, this if is a child of this if. So that means you check this if. If it fails, then this if will not be checked. If it passes, then this F will have to be checked before you check another thing. So this is nested inside this one. We call it nested if. So let me take us to a few examples on my Jupyter notebook. Any other question as I'm getting to my Jupyter notebook? Any other question? We are good?
Yes.
When I say we are good, I'm waiting for response. Thank you. So I believe I've explained a lot, and so I'll just go to maybe examples. And basically, when we are using selection, or when we are having those selection or branching or decision making programs, our condition uses the comparison operators. We talked about comparison operators on Wednesday. So we have equal to, not equal to, less than, greater than, less or equal to, greater or equal to. And also, don't forget to remember the difference between assignment symbol and equal to symbol, and where we use them and why we use them. So those are just things that we may want to remember. Familiarize yourself with the comparison operators. I can still jump that, but then the block, the syntax, using the conditional operators, it is now possible to formulate conditional statements in Python. The syntax for conditional statements in Python is this, just the way I've explained it. So maybe showing it in an IDE looks more beautiful, so that we have if condition full colon, then all the statements that will be performed. It is like a block of statements that will be performed when this if condition is true. So it doesn't have to be just one statement, can be a block. That's where I have the red dots, show that they can be several, there can be so many to be performed. Else, another block of statements that can be done when the condition was not true. The result of the condition can be either true or false. I think that's okay. So let's check on the first example. Number, input, please type a number. And we now know that the kind of number we are typing in will be an integer. If we don't put the int, it will give us an error immediately we start using the greater than symbol, because you can't check a string for greater than, so it has to be a number. So if number is greater than 100, print number is greater than 100. So if I run this, it tells me please enter a number. So I enter 10. Please type a number. I enter 10, then I don't get the result. Why is it that I am not getting any result?
Because it is less than 100.
It is less than 100, and I've also
So-
not told the program what to do when it is
If it
less
is
than
less
100.
than-
Yes,
Sure.
yes. So then it will just stop there. But now if I come down here, still I can run it. Please enter a number. I put my 10. And now if I run it, it says 10 is smaller or equal to 100, because that is what I said. Else, the number can be smaller or equal to, because the condition was if the number I've entered is greater than 100, then number is greater than 100. Otherwise, that number can just be equal to it or less than. If again, sorry. Where is it? Okay. If I again run it and input 100, then it say 100 is smaller or equal to 100. So it is still printing the else part. If I run it and put 101, then it should say 101 is greater than 100. So basically, what you need to know is that the condition should be very clear. Then the way you block it, if and else must always stand on the same line. If I try doing this, it even gives it red already. That's a danger. So if I run it, I'll be told an indent does not match any outer indentation level. If I push it again to here and run it, invalid syntax. Why? Because else and if, else cannot be nested inside if. It has to stand on its own. They are brothers. There is no mother there. They are brothers, they are sisters, so they line on the same line. So basically, those are things that you really need to remember. Indentation mark the boundary of code of blocks. Remember up here, we had shown that there could be a block, like from here going up to there, from here going up to there. So it is a block. So indentation is what tells you that this block of code ends here, this block of code ends here. These are the things that needs to be performed when this condition is true. These are the ones that needs to be performed when the else part of it is true. Okay. So indentation and spaces have a meaning in Python. Therefore, you must not indent just the way you want. Execute the code in the following two cells to see what happens. So I have that and I run it. It gives me an error saying an expected indent. Like I've indented when I wasn't supposed to indent. So that is an expected indent. The indent is premature. So I don't need to indent because this is basically sequential. So if I do that, it works. But the moment I start indenting, so when you're working with Python, I remember the first time I was doing Python, I suffered a long time because I was like, this code is okay. What is wrong with my code? Why am I not getting the right result? Then I went to Google. I tried to check on Stack Overflow to see exactly what was wrong with my code. And somebody advised that I was putting indentation where it was not needed. And I was like, really? So indentation is that serious? In C, C++, and all other programming languages that maybe I've interacted with, we normally put something like this, a curly bracket in C. I'm trying to draw a curly bracket, but it is not helping me. Curly bracket is this one. So we normally put that and this to show the beginning and the end of code, so that everything, all the block goes within these two curly brackets. But in Python, we indent. So indentation must be on the same line to show that that is what you actually mean. So take indentation very seriously. It can give you heart attack. Let us challenge your understanding. Let me see. Take a look at the following program. The last statement, print done, is not indented. What does this mean for the execution of the program? Change the program and indent the print done. So let's see this. Do you want to try it so that I can paste it on the WhatsApp? So that you just copy paste? I think that will be fast. I can paste it on our WhatsApp. Python. this one. You can grab it and I hope I'm not pasting on the wrong group. Yeah, you can grab it, paste it the other end and see what happens. Just on your ID. We agreed you can use Google Colab, paste it, try playing with the indentations and see for yourself. If I run it, please insert a number. So I'll insert 40. Then it says 40 is smaller. Is smaller, order equals 100. So that is 40, then done. And so basically, what do you think this done will be doing? When will it be printed? I think that is the right question I need to ask. Will it be printed when 100 is greater than, when the number I enter is greater or when it is less? Captain. Okay. When will the print done be printed on the screen? Is it when the number I enter is less or when the number I enter is greater than 100? I'm waiting for our answer.
I think it will be printed
When
when
it's less.
none of the condition is met.
None.
Yes, none
When
of the
it is
condition.
less.
None of.
Okay, John, you're saying less?
A print done when it is less than 100.
Okay, then Austin? Oh, that was Fabius.
When none of the condition is met.
Okay, so John says when less, Fabius says when none of the condition is met. But we only have greater than, we only have one condition. Fabius, we only have one condition, and our condition is if number is greater than 100. So let me just try and say the number is 20, that is less, right? It says 20 is smaller or equals to 100. Let me just change this. Is smaller or so 20 is smaller or equal to 100, done. So let me put something greater. Sorry. Let me put something greater and see what happens. 105. 105 is greater than 100, done. Why do you think done comes every time? If the block of code that needs to be worked on when if condition is true is this one. Is this one. Else, the block of code that needs to be done when else part is true is this one. This one, and this one, and this one, and this one are on the same level. So it is not a block of any of them, okay? It is on the same level with them. So it is printed, it is not part of their block. So if maybe I say, if I want it to be a part of this, then I'll bring it there. So now if I put 105 and run, done will not come. right? But the moment I bring it on the same level, then it will be printed either way. Whether I put 105, it will still work. I believe that is now okay. So maybe we write this. Let me copy it and paste it on the WhatsApp. Let me put it on. Let me put it on our Zoom. Somebody have seen asking question on the Nini, so I'll put it on our chat for everybody. And maybe I'll delete this for everyone. And also delete this for everyone. Okay, so you have it on the chat. Write a conditional statement that asks for the user's name. Use the input function. If his name is Harry or Harry Potter, then output will be welcome to Gryffindor, Mr. Potter. Otherwise, the output will be sorry, Hogwarts is full. Can you try that? Sorry. I'm looking for this. Yeah. Oh, I almost showed you my code. Yeah. Can you try that? So that shouldn't take us, that should take us like 4 minutes. Like 4 minutes. I hope we are typing. I'll ask somebody to share the screen. I can ask anyone. Or maybe let me just ask who wishes to share so that I can stop sharing. When you share, I'll actually know that you have your laptops and you are doing something. Lihanda. Lihanda, do you wish to share, or John? Ramadan, everybody is muted.
I'm just looking at it.
Okay. You can share and then you look at it.
I'm using it on my laptop and the Zoom is in my phone.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Who has his laptop and Zoom and everything on the same place? It's okay. Just type, then when it works, you can annotate. Just copy and paste it on the screen. We will see how it worked for you. Okay, are we good? Are we good? Did people leave? Are we good? Charlene.
Yeah, we are.
We are good. We are good. Yes. Are we all getting it right, or we are getting errors? Or we are
We are
typing?
getting it right.
Austin, you're getting it right? Anybody with the
Yes.
challenge? Anybody with the challenge? Okay. So when people are quiet, I believe we are good. Let me show mine, and then I give you one that I have not typed. So this says name equals input, please enter your name. If name is equal to Harry, or name is equal to Harry Potter. I wanted to give an example that works with these two. So if name is equal to Harry or name is equal to Harry Potter, then print, welcome to Gryffindor, Mr. Potter. Else print, sorry, Hogwarts is full. So if you run that, basically the result is what we have been looking for. So I run, if I enter a name like John, then I'm told that the place is full. But if I enter Harry Potter or just Harry, so let's try that. If I enter Harry, it says that. And then if I enter Mr. Potter, Harry Potter, sorry, if I enter Harry Potter, so it works. The else part is working and the if part is also working. So basically, that's it. I think I need to give this for our explanation. Just look at this code and maybe tell me what will the result be. If I run this program, what will be my result? This one, you don't need a laptop. You just need a paper and a pen. If I run this code, what will my result be? Are we in?
Yes.
Captain, who is captain?
I'm listening.
Oh yeah, I'm looking for the results. This is simple maths, grade 4, CBC, Kenya. You have to give me the result. But somebody can save you, maybe Shalin. Shalin.
I think the answer will be 50.
The answer will be 50. Another person, maybe you can write your answers on my screen. I want to see 7 answers on my screen. Use annotate, then just write anywhere on my screen. Don't mind, wherever you write is okay. Take note not to write on another person's. Or somebody has written on the charts. Shalin says 50. Another person? Ramadan. Ramadan?
I think the answer is 52.
The answer is 50. Anybody with a contrary opinion? Contrary opinion? Lihanda also says 50. Basically, the answer is 50. Okay, let me see. Perhaps I overscrolled and people saw my work. What will be the answer? What will be the answer? Maybe if I explain the way it works, but this you know, I know you know this. If I run this, I'll still get 50. So let's see what happens. In this code, I'm looking for annotate. In this code, we are saying we are assigning 99 to A. So we are saying A is 99. Then check if A modulus 2 equals 0. That means if you divide 99 by 2, if you divide 99 by 2, check if the remainder is 0. So in case of this, if we divide 99 by 2, do we get 0 as the remainder? No,
We get
right?
one as a remainder.
The remainder will be 1. So now that the remainder will be 1, this block of code will not be performed, right? Sorry, from here, yeah?
Yes.
So it will go to the else part. And the else part says A will be A, which is 99, plus now 1. 1 is now 1. 1 plus that will be 100, right? Then now that is when you divide it by 2 and you print A. So the answer will be 50 still. So let me see if that one is understood by putting my A to be 20. What will be the result if I run it? Huh?
The answer will be 10.
The answer will be 10. So if I run this, my answer will be 10. If I put it at 21, what will be the answer? Let me check. 11. Wow, that person was so fast. I think that was so fast. But the answer will be 11 because now you will be adding 1 to 21. You're getting 22. Then you divide by 2 and then you get 11.0. In exam, if you wrote 11, just the way John did it, you will get it wrong because once you divide, you can't get an integer. You get a float. So you will get 11.0. Any result after division is a float. Division does not result into an integer unless you put it a floor division. You remember floor division with the double slash. So this will be a float, 11.0. But basically we were just saying 11 because that's what we see. Again here, I did something. Input, enter first number, second number, third number. And then we are checking the greater than. So if number 1 is greater than number 2 and number 1 is greater than number 3, obviously number 1 is the largest. A leaf. So I wanted to show a leaf. Number 2 is greater than number 1 and number 2 is greater than number 3, then number 2 obviously is the largest, else number 3 is the largest. Print the largest of the 3 numbers is number something. So if I run this, enter the first number, I put 3. The second number, I put 5. I put 2. So it will say the largest of the 3 numbers is number 5. It should have told us whether it is number 1, number 2. The largest of the 3 numbers is number 2. I think that should be the best way to do it, but it's okay. So now I want to give us an assignment. It is already Sunday, but we came late. I want to give us just a little assignment. Write a program that asks the user for students students, marks, check in the code, in the grading system, the grading system, and grades the students. So the grading system, let me just give it first. It is the same one that I had given earlier. So I think it is the one that I should give. So between 0 to 39, the student should be graded at E. 40 to 49, the student should be graded at D. 50 to 59, the student should be graded at C. Then 60 to 69, the student should be graded at B. Then 70 to 100, the student should be graded at A. Then anything else should print not within the max range. Yeah. Another question, you're going to have two. Another question, write a Python. Of course, they are both Python code that will check if the gender of the students is girl. Let me put woman. No, sorry, female. Then check if the female is from Africa. Then check if the female got an A. Then print you got the scholarship. It will print you got the scholarship if, so it has to, you have to qualify all those conditions before you get a scholarship. That scholarship has come for only female students who are in Africa, and they have also gotten an A grade in exam. So those two, I think, will be good for us. And then we meet on Wednesday. I can't tackle loops now, so I think that will be okay. Do I paste this on the chat so that you capture it?
Yes.
Those who can also screenshot my screen. There are many ways of killing a rat. So those also who can screenshot my screen, you will also still have it. Where is the chat? So those two. think those two will be good for us. Okay, so up to there, any question? Any question? Oh. Yes, Njuguna?
Well, may we get the what's the notes you see? You said that you had sent it in the email.
Oh, there are few people who sent me their email addresses.
Yeah.
I had Lihanda, I had someone called Tom, and I also had Ramadan, I think. I communicated to them. I left the other laptop that I normally use in Siaya. Then I went to Nakuru, then I'm in Nairobi right now. I forgot to transfer the notes online. So they are basically on my local environment. I'll be traveling tomorrow to Siaya, and then I'll be sending them. So by Tuesday, those who have shared their email addresses will get the notes.
Okay.
Plus the code. Those who were not there and so they didn't capture my email address. The email address is Lucy Wagoro, lucywagoro@gmail.com. Yeah. That. So kindly share your email addresses, then you get the notes all the way from, I told you last week that you remind me to stop the recording immediately the class ends.